Race 1 of the 2022 Prosecco DOC UK round gets underway. Great start from Alvaro Bautista from the middle of the second row. Alex Lowe's hasn't made a good one, but sweeps across the path of the Spaniard. It's Razgatlioglu from third to first. Picks off both of the KRT men into Redgate. Jonathan Ray then attacking from second position. Lowe's in third, has managed to consolidate that place ahead of Bautista. Bautista, though, has made a position in the early stages. Lecuona fighting his way forward quite nicely from seventh position and up to fifth. Michael Ruben Rinaldi in sixth. Once again, the BMW struggling off the line. Scott Redding, who started up in fourth, has already dropped down to seventh position. Axel Bassani, I think, now has jumped Garrett Gerloff. He has now down the inside. They were side by side. So Bassani through and up into eighth position. That'll relegate Gerloff down to ninth. But back at the front, fine start that from Toprak Razgatlioglu. It was KRT 1-2 on the grid, but Razgatlioglu finding his way through. Opportunity now for the KRT men to hit back. They're trying to go either side of Razgatlioglu. Razgatlioglu totally out of shape. He manages to get it stopped. Ray settles in second place, but I think he gets in the path of Alex Lowe's, and Bautista now is going to try and capitalise in the run down towards the heavy braking zone at turn 11, the first of two hairpins. Bautista's got through on both of the Kawasaki's, and Ray's been forced wide, and they're all going to bundle through, and Jonathan Ray getting freight train there almost. They're side by side still as we go in towards Goddard's at the end of lap number one. This is enabling Razgatlioglu to break away. Things couldn't have gone much worse on the opening lap for Kawasaki. Lowe's relegated down to third position. Ray down in fifth as he tries to get back through on Lecuona at the start of lap number two. He's done so successfully for fourth. Look at the speed of the Ducati down the start-finish straight. It's only 550 metres, but even so it was enough for Bautista to get alongside Alex Lowe's and through into Redgate. Lowe's we saw make the pass by the end of the first sector on lap number two for second place. He's a little bit further back though this time around, and Jonathan Ray is going to pass Alex Lowe's instead, and these two holding up one another now. Bautista gets a little bit of clear air for second. Lap number three, still a long way to go, and it is the shortest lap on the calendar as Jonathan Ray looks down the inside into the Melbourne hairpin. Bit of a block pass, that's going to have held up Alex Lowe's, and the Kawasaki men haven't done one another too many favours in the last couple of laps. So crucial to set up Coppice nicely and get a run down what is the longest straight here at Donington Park. But of course, against the Ducati, Bautista's got the advantage there.
Yeah, what you're seeing from Ray, particularly through turn 5 at Schwantz, we saw really sideways. He gets on the gas and a big moment.
Massive moment from Jonathan Ray coming through the Fogarty S's. He's gathered it up and holds on to third position.
Yeah, what's happened there is he saw that Bautista had made a bit of a mistake. He tries to whack open the gas to try and do that. He had been out in the curb, just unsettled it slightly. You can see there for Bautista, he cuts across that first curb, puts him offline for the second. That gives Ray half a chance. Ray then tries to make sure he's opening the gas as early as possible, and he's just making sure that he's trying to get out of the corner to attack Bautista. The bike's just too much of an angle at that stage.
At the moment, Bautista capitalising on the strengths of that Ducati and able to hold on down the straights. But Jonathan Ray, I'm quite sure, is going to think about a move here as they head down the hill towards the Melbourne hairpin. So many passes have been made here at Donington Park down the years. Ray gets in, but he gets in too deep, and Bautista will cut back and take track position. Now Ray might think about making a manoeuvre. He's going to have, having had the wider line, the momentum coming down in towards Goddard. Bautista might close the door, but he closes it too late. Ray runs him right off the racing line. Bautista's now going to have the straight line speed, surely, as they come back into Redgate at the start of lap number 8. Bautista flies back through. These two scrapping one another is going to open a door to Scott Redding to try and close in.
Yeah, I thought Redding might have been able to pull back some time on them, but he actually was slower last time around.
This is Tati Mercado shaking his head in frustration. Best result of his career came with a 6th place here at Donington Park. Very different conditions that day, and he is the first retirement out of a 26 rider field. So it's been a good start to this race from a neutral's perspective. There he goes, Jonathan Rea. Bautista is so sluggish on the apex of the Melbourne hairpin that Jonathan Rea almost goes for a move that he didn't even try to do. Bautista leaving the door wide open. He's riding really defensively now, the Spaniard. He can't get the bike turned in, and Rea's made that very easy indeed at the end of lap number 8. Now Bautista with the acceleration in towards Redgate. No, Jonathan Rea has got enough speed coming off that final turn. Bautista looking sluggish through both of the hairpins, punished severely by Jonathan Rea, who's back up into second place. For all the times that we said this weekend might be different, this circuit is very different, it throws up different results. In the end, we've got the top 3 in the championship in the top 3 positions on track, as Axel Bassani finally gets that job done on Iker Lecuona, so they'll be through for 6th position. He's now got the best part of 2 seconds to make up to the riders directly in front of him, which are Scott Redding and Alex Lowe's, as Lecuona now thinks about a recovery through the final sectors of lap number 11. Bassani then clear in 6th place, top Ducati Bautista up in P3. Bautista still hassling and harrying Jonathan Rea. He hasn't been dropped off at all. Razgatlioglu's escaped away 3.5 seconds clear, but the longer this race goes on, the more Bautista will fancy it. We know he's lighter on tyres than many of the riders around him.
Yeah, obviously everyone out there, you can see for Jonathan Rea, the red dashes on that rear tyre. He's out in the X tyre, same as everyone else, but Bautista manages that tyre a lot better. He's going to try and manage it to get down the inside for Rea. This is where Rea needs to carry as much speed as possible to try and attack back.
And he does so immediately. Alvaro Bautista fighting his way through at the Fogarty S's, but it's through this final sector that Jonathan Rea has generally been able to attack Bautista. He'll try and capitalise on it to escape away. Bautista, though, sticking with him really nicely. Again, as they come through the Melbourne hairpin, now into Goddard's, and Rea sweeps across the path of Bautista. Bautista looks to have gone in a little too hot there, and he's going to have to turn it back hard now to make a long straight of it at the start of lap 13.
Yeah, Bautista actually tried to compensate for what had happened with Rea into that corner as well, so that's what creates that little bit of a gap between them as well. But I think that what we saw there from riding on board, we know that Rea is an absolute animal out in the racetrack, but it was interesting to see there he almost sacrificed the entry into the S's to make sure he could attack straight back.
Bautista even closer this time around as they make their way to the Fogarty S's. He's been moved up to the outside line by Jonathan Rea. Rea will defend track position, and Bautista has to settle in once again in 3rd position.
Even though the Foggy S's are a fast flip-flop through there, Rea knows you've got to make sure that you're able to be on that inside line, force Bautista to go the long way around, and then just try and break in deeper than him. If you break in deeper than him, you're also going to upset him, make sure he can't take that inside line. So that's
Jonathan Rea with a big moment there, coming in towards Goddard's at the end of lap 14. He's left the door wide open, and now Bautista will use the acceleration of the Ducati to try and sprint away at the start of lap 15. Crucial error there from Jonathan Rea, and Bautista at long last is through.
This is the mistake. There's a few bumps on the entry, and when that rear wheel kicks back down, it can easily unsettle the bike. Rea's actually done quite well to collect most of that and not lose too much time. He's only a 1/10 of a second behind Bautista now, so he's still in a position to be able to attack.
Bautista was challenged by the media, wasn't he, about knowing that the other riders, some of them have had bad weekends, and he's been the consistent one, and he said, do you know what, we're going to face the fire at some stage. Bautista's down! Alvaro Bautista from 2nd position, shades of his 2019 campaign when he threw the title away. He's done such great work, we were just singing his praises, passing Jonathan Rea, and he's thrown it away at turn 12 on lap 16.
Yeah, and he's going to try and get that bike restarted. At least it's a slow speed crash, and he can hopefully get it restarted. You can see the wings have been ripped off that Ducati. He's not getting it going right now, so Bautista falling all the way down the order, and it is a shame because, as I had been saying, he'd been riding really well up to this point. This is the moment for him on the run into Goddard's. We've seen him break really deep and late and run wide through this section a few times in this race. He's a little bit offline maybe and hits those bumps, and it's strange to see the the bike fold like that whenever he's relatively upright into that part of the track compared to where he'd normally be, but he's a little bit offline there. There are the bumps, and they just catch out the number 19.
A run of 12 consecutive podiums is at an end. Fury in the Ducati pit box. This is the fight from here on in. Alex Lowes tries to get alongside Scott Redding, both of them pushing as hard as they dare. Coming off Coppice now and in towards the Fogarty S's. It's Redding versus Lowes. It's Lowes who's through for a provisional podium place as they come through the chicane. Redding needs to hit back immediately. He's been sluggish through the final 2 turns over the last couple of laps, so he's got to be aggressive. He does take the fight to Lowes, tries to stop in his path, almost loses the bike midway through the Melbourne hairpin. Lowes now will fight back coming into Goddard's. Best opportunity for Lowes to try and break clear at the start of lap 21. Lowes is through again for a second time. Redding responded last time. Does he have the acceleration now? Coming off the final turn, back down the Wheatcroft straight in towards Redgate then. Redding does pull alongside Alex Lowes heading in towards turn 1, and he has got it stopped as well. Brilliant fighting between the two Brits for the last step on the podium. For both of them, this would be their first podium of this season. They're side by side. You're not supposed to go side by side through there. Alex Lowes does get through on Scott Redding, and I think from here he'll fancy his chances of holding on to third position. Toprak Razgatlioglu blasting well clear, then 7.5 seconds clear of Jonathan Ray. Alex Lowes now consolidating third, is 2 seconds up on Scott Redding. Axel Bassani 1.5 seconds further behind, and Michael Ruben Rinaldi rounding out your top 6.
Really important day for Toprak, taking full advantage of Bautista's crash. This could put him within 54 points of the championship lead, exactly what the world champion needs to do.
The circuit that he says he loves the most. It's going to be his third victory at Donington Park, the 20th of his Superbike World Championship career, and he does it in style. Toprak Razgatlioglu wins race 1 of the 2022 Prosecco DOC UK round, and in the process reignites his title hopes.